right then.
Okay, that's much better.
Yeah. Let's get this set. There we go. Yeah, tell you what about it.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. I had.
That's me maximum volume. Well, how's things?
It's good. It took us hour and a half to set up because my stupid phone. You know, you got the screen recorder, the inbuilt, which would not cooperate with Instagram. So you go on Instagram, and then I think due to who knows what people were exposing to whatever conversations, it wouldn't let me record the image. Like it would work as I would, use my phone. You could hear the sound, and as soon as I would call my girl, my image would just disappear. And I'm like, oh, you're killing me. And then there was no sound. We did 22 video calls for this. 22.
Seriously?
Yes. For you, yes.
Yeah, well, we're here now. Good to see you, Pop. Good to see you.
Can you see that?
No.
It's
see the age of it?
It's my phone with what do you call these things? The chicks use.
Circle.
Right, the lighting thing. I'm not using the lighting. I have used it before, but there was no other way we could do this. And we've been working on angles because she's obviously a little smaller than me, and she was like, "Oh, you."
Yeah.
And I said, "What if I go like this?" She's like, "Oh, your fat head's in the way." I'm like, "We gotta work this out." So she pressed record, fucked off as fast as she could, and then we have to. Oh, some Greek stuff, whatever. Okay, so I hope this works out. But there is sound, of course. I just have to be a little bit loud. I hope I'm not too loud.
No, you're fine, my end. I'm actually quite quiet my side, but that's all right. I can hear you.
It's an honor to be able to talk to you. It's fucking awesome. I'm so happy we get to do this. Finally, we've been talking about it for years, I think.
Yeah. No, man, it's a pleasure for me too, man, to talk to you. Because we've been sort of following each other and watching each other's stuff for a long time now.
Yeah.
And I've always, that social media is great. It really is, because you can see so much that's going on you wouldn't normally see in real life.
Right.
But now again, it's nice to talk to somebody instead of a message or a like or a thumbs up.
It's nice to. I agree, and this is the main reason why I do have social media is because you get to know people and people you already know from the past history, like yourself as a lifter and a legend in my opinion. And it's can you imagine? You just press a button and that's it. We're on. It's crazy. We can share the culture.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's like, because I'm old school, because when I was a kid, none of this existed. I was born in 1963, so things were very different back then.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You are 60. Wow, you look younger.
I'll be 63 this year. Yeah.
I'm gonna be 40.
It's just a number.
It is. I agree. I'm gonna be 45 in 8 days. So.
I can't wait to end 45.
I mean, it'll my turn will come and catches everybody. So
Oh, it does, it does. And you know what? I mean, age, it does catch people. It'll catch us all eventually. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the way you think it here and here.
Absolutely.
You can throw on that. You really can,
Drumming.
And then if you marry a crazy woman like I have, then that helps us.
Drumming helps and lifting helps, so it keeps us young. I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's catching my neck fat just right, and you're not fat, so we have a very nice balance.
Okay.
on camera. Do you want to jump to the questions and maybe, I don't know how long this is going to take, honestly. I always tell myself, I'm going to be as fast as possible. And I'm a huge fat liar. I really am. Never.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I mean, I go upstairs to play drums for a set. I say to Heather, I'll be up 15 minutes, just a couple of songs. 3 hours later, I'm back out. And it's the same with these podcasts. I mean, I talk to my friends.
Right.
And they say, particularly coming up to the gather, and we'll chat, and I'll say, right, 20 minutes, half an hour, we'll get it all done, and next thing, an hour's passed, I'm in no rush. I'm all ears to thinking you have to rush this. I mean, I partially retired now, so Mondays are a chill day for me, and I had a gig at the weekend, so I'm all about relaxing and chilling today, so it's all good.
I think it will take me longer to actually decode my terrible writing.
Well, I have the photograph, and I've written down some pointers against each of them.
Uh-oh. Were they historically inaccurate or?
No, they're perfect. Yeah.
Oh, you're probably correct. Oh, that's a fuck up. That's stupid. That's probably or no, you didn't.
I don't work out my brother. No, well, I mean that's great because it's all they're doing is you just kind of spark on topic and then the rest takes care of itself. That's what I do with my friends. I have like keywords down.
Right.
Things that would be relevant to them, and that just reminds me. This guy's about the Scottish Sterkur Strength. He'll tell me about that.
Right.
And then off they go. You just kind of sit back and. The passion comes out with people, whenever you're talking about something that they're really interested in. It doesn't need an awful lot of intro.
Absolutely. I got them.
Look at those, wow.
You know what these are, don't you? Oh, these are the ones that...
Exactly what they are.
This is exactly as you describe it through your specs. I actually have the piece of paper inside, but I'm not going to go run and get it. So that's the little one.
That looks perfect.
It looks pretty accurate, doesn't it?
It looks perfect, yeah.
Now this one is just not as thick because the guy made it out of the same rebar.
Yeah.
So it's a proper diameter, but it's a little bit thinner, and I have to admit it's a bit painful because
the thinner it is, the more it's like cheeseware.
Right.
I would say, but I mean that's normally 3/4 inch steel on the big one, 9/16 on the small, yeah.
Right.
I can't remember what the conversion to metric is for millimeters. I know it's.
I get it.
25 millimeters, something weird, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this one, the thicker one, is about 2 centimeters, I think, or 20 millimeters. So it's a little bit thinner. That's all. But.
Okay. Well, that's gone, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pay for it.
I think the thing, Terry, about rings is don't worry what the thicknesses are, the dimensions are. You should really train yourself that you can just, no matter what the stones are, no matter what the thickness the rings are, your technique should allow you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't really care what side. I mean, obviously I have some of the stones out here.
Yeah.
I have rings that are very accurate. They were made to me a good friend, exact.
Right.
But even my dad's stuff. But there's other stuff I have here with wee thin rings and some with thicker.
Right.
It's being able to adapt because you're not always going to go and lift, really service rings or you're going to lift on the dinnies themselves. There's going to be other rings though.
Right.
But it's training yourself to just adapt to the situation. It's like a musician too. You're not always going to have a perfect setup, so you need to be able to adapt and
You get to the gig, the bass pedal. I play the drums for a long time since I was a child.
Oh, you did not, yeah.
I try not to connect. I try not to combine my music with my lifting, because it's literally like two lives running at the same time. Not that I'm embarrassed, but it's so much. You get on Messenger with the musician friends, and then you get on Messenger with my lifting friends. And if we got paid for all the texting we've done, we would be very rich people.
We would be sitting, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have it. I got some drums. You got my cymbals back there, but I wanted to say that I agree, and you have to be able to adjust the same way somebody like myself. Before I got my Olympic lifting shoes, where I I'm using these. I'm essentially using my cheap sneakers to do overheads and squats. And then I can switch to my flats, all stars, and then it doesn't matter if you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it with any kind of shoe. So I understand what you meant to get back into the context. That,
absolutely.
And because I'm not gonna stop mumbling. I'm sorry, it's just my addiction. But I got this is This is the arm lifting grease. That's Manos makes those my sponsors. So I have to I don't really have to pimp him out, but he's a good friend of mine, so I'm gonna do it anyway.
That's cool.
I wanted to show you because this is about 47 centimeters, which is pretty close to the bigger ring, right?
So the bigger rings, I think from the ground to the top of the rings, 20.5 inches.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That is perfect.
So that's when you take the pin on the ring and go right to the very top of the extension.
That is very close to that. And the second one is
the little one, 18 inches to the. Now, 17 inches runs with the oval at a tie point.
Right.
If you turn the oval on the side, 17 inches. Yeah, that's 18, that's 17 inches.
Got it. Online instructions with Stevie Shanks.
Oh, man.
Free of charge, too.
It's good to have those dimensions. Because I think, I've seen Rogue. I'm a big fan of Rogue, as you can see with all the stuff. But they've made Denny pins, but they based them on the replica rings or the replica Denny stones that Gordon Jenny had made, and his wife Senga gave those to Terry and Jan Todd back in 2016 when we made Stoneland. And they are exactly the same weight, and they're very, very similar in makeup and how they sit, but how they come off the ground, stones are always different because they've got a life of their own. Yeah. But it's the heights of the rings make them slightly higher. And it's not that it's an easier, I never say it's an easier pull, it's a less difficult pull.
I get it.
It's probably the best way I can describe it. Yeah. But with that extra height, it allows you to get into a lovely position, that the tennies don't allow you to get into. You've got to sort of twist your shoulders and stuff, so
right.
They made their training pins based on the replica tennies, which is perfect for the replica tennies. But I've seen guys lifting 800 pounds and that.
Yeah.
And then come to the tennies and fail. You need to train accurate. That's right. The thing I always try and push. That's probably page 1, paragraph 1. How do you train the tennies? Get correct training pin. Yeah, the rest comes from that. If you haven't got those to start with, I think you're putting yourself on the back foot.
You must
and maybe giving yourself a false impression of where you're at.
Right.
And you're feeling, and I hate to see people being caught out because I know the passion that goes into it. I know the amount of work that goes into it.
Right.
The expense, the traveling, the time off work, the time away from family when you're training. Absolutely. It's a massive commitment, so to have an element of that that's wrong is going to let you down. I'd be so disappointed, and I would feel like I wasn't doing my job.
Right.
If I didn't think that. And it's never trying to be cruel, it's trying to be helpful.
Right.
And I certainly don't want to, disrespect Ro because they've been so good to me.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I understand that it's extreme weights, and it's like you said, if it's literally an inch, 2 inches higher, then you're thinking, oh, that's easier than I expected. And then you get to Potter's Bridge, if I remember well, and then you have to squat down lower, and then you're thinking, I'm screwed. Yes. How can I pick this up now?
And do you know what? 1 inch at that kind of weight does make a difference.
187 kg in one hand, 88. What is it? It's insane.
188, 0.5 or something like that. Yeah, that's nuts. A lot.
So do you wanna get to the questions? Because I want to ask you how your health is, which is my first question. Okay. So I don't want to seem inconsiderate.
No, you're absolutely fine.
I looked at the camera with deep meaning. Bullshit. It says it right here. All right. I also got a marker to. All right. So question number 1: how's your health? Would you like to talk about your recent struggles? And how's your dad?
Okay. I'll start with my dad first. My dad turned 91 a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
He still trains 3 times a week. And if I'm honest, I still don't think I could take him.
For real?
He is a tough dude. And I'm so proud of him. I'm so lucky to still have him around.
Absolutely.
I phone him all the time for advice, and he gives me it.
Right.
And it's just wonderful. I'm very blessed to have my dad around. And what I do love is when I take him to a stone lifting event, that there's all the big guys, the champions all come over and they want to speak to my dad. And I think that's just wonderful.
It is.
It still blows him away, that people want to speak to him. But when he did his thing, there was no social media.
Right.
There was newspaper. And that was pretty much other magazines like Iron Mind.
Yeah.
They were going out with articles in it about folk, halfway around the world, and you never got to meet these people.
Right.
You read about them, Eugene Sandow, all those guys, the old time strongmen you read about. But my dad, because it was 1972 when he did his first penny lift. Right. That is old time strongman now, I think, in anybody's book. It's over 50 years ago. So it's close to 55 years ago, I think. Yeah. So I just love that side of it, and to see, how much respect the stone lifting community in particular has for him, and the weightlifting community.
Right.
It's wonderful, and I'm very, very blessed. So he is in great form.
Excellent.
He had a wee fall recently, broke his elbow in 2 places, but he came through that like a trooper. Never complained, did all the rehab, and he's out the other side now, feeling great, back training again.
Being able to recover at 91 is insane to begin with.
It is, yeah.
I mean, that's admirable, but he's training still. I guess the fact that he's still moving could be one of the reasons why he's still with us and he's still killing it.
Yeah, I think he believes that himself. It's not about necessarily lifting heavy weights at 91. There's a lot of it stuff with resistance bands.
Right.
you know, and sit-ups and different things, you know, just move the joints, get the muscles engaged, you know, and it just, like you say, just to keep moving. And I think movement is life, you know, for all of us,
Absolutely.
no matter what age we are, because I notice that, I mean, if I lie down for a couple of days, just take a couple of days where I'm lazy, you know, it's very hard to get up again. You know, but if I keep moving, I'm all right. I'm fine.
Excellent.
Yeah, my health is great. Thank you for asking. I mean, I'm not even saying it's been a challenge. It's hard to describe what's happened over the last 8 months. But I honestly, I'm not trying to be silly here when I'm saying this, it's been a very positive experience for so many reasons.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, one of the things that's what happened to me with my heart attack and my surgery, that's genetics. So no matter how strong, how fit, how healthy you are, you can't escape that. And I killed my grandfather at 55. My dad's been through triple bypass as well. So it's in the family, and my cousins and stuff have it, you know, so I kind of knew it was coming. And I was conscious of it since I turned 50.
I see.
And I think I've been unconscious of this, but what do you do about something like that? You know, how do you get yourself monitored all the time and stuff, you know? Yeah. So I eventually did go to the doctor because I was getting palpitations, and it booked me in, but then, you know, I have health insurance. And they hadn't really contacted me, or the health service hadn't contacted me about my consultation. So I thought, I'll play the health insurance card here and get myself off the queue and get myself done quickly. My plan was Monday the 6th of October, because I was hosting the World Championships with the IAWA, the International All-Round Weightlifting Association. I was in Belfast, or just outside Belfast. They had asked me to do that. The organisation's been around since like 1982. And it's the first time anything like that's been done in Northern Ireland. So it was a massive thing for me. You know, it was such an honour. I didn't want to lift in it because I wanted to focus on, you know, doing a good job and making sure everything ran smoothly. It was on the 4th and the 5th, the Saturday and the Sunday. So I thought, I'll get that done, and then I'll go to the doctors and play the health card and get myself in this week and get checked out. I had the heart attack on the Sunday night. It took about time, you know, but hey, it is what it is, you know. I think, I mean, no matter what, I mean, if I had got in for the health thing and caught this, I might have avoided the heart attack, which was unpleasant, but not the end of the world. But I was never avoiding the surgery because that needed done, and we would have caught that. So, but here I am, brand new pipework in my heart. Everything's healed up. I'm back playing drums again, as you know. A wee bit of numbness here just from recovery. So when that heals, I think that's a good pointer to me that I can start lifting again, because I do want to start again.
Obviously.
I don't know to what direction I want to go in, because I have to decide what the end goal is first. And then the end goal will decide what direction I need to go in to arrive at that. It might, well, there is a record I'm chasing. You know, there is.
What?
The record that I currently hold. But when I was running the championships, like I said, decided not to lift. But I had been training on the 1 inch vertical bar, which I've seen you experiment with recently. There's an all-time record for that. The all-time record was 250 kilograms, held by Gary L, which is fabulous.
It's a lot of weight,
It's a lot of weight, so I really wanted, I've been training, I really wanted to take that record. He's my friend, but you understand, it's you know, it's nothing personal, it's just the records are there to be broken. And I want to inspire him to push it and take it back off me too. Because that's how we improve. So I thought I would do it on the Sunday after everything's over. You know, all the lifting, so I wasn't interfering with the competition, but then we've got all the judges and referees and officials already there, you know, so it's like, well, would you mind, guys, if I had to go with this? My dad turned up on the Saturday. And while I planned to do it on the Sunday, my dad was there, and I always lift more when my dad's in front of me. It's a good motivator. You know, because he would say stuff like, I haven't done that 3 times a week. You know, you know, so I mean, that sort of stuff really does motivate you not to fail. So I thought, right, he's here, he might not, because he goes to church on Sunday, so he might not have come back on the Sunday, and I thought, you know what, he's here, so I worked up, I pulled 255, got the record. My plan then was 270, 300. But my dad and I just had a lovely moment after the 255, and I got the record, and something inside me, I had no idea why, but I just thought, that's enough. You know, was it God's hand in it? Was it just fate?
I got
But I'll come back to that another day because I didn't want to water that moment down. It was a lovely moment.
Yeah, yeah.
So we just left it. I have the record now. It's still sitting at 255. So 270, I would have got on the day, no question. 300, who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
It might kill me.
Yeah, I get it. You're concerned at the same time.
Back the next day,
Yeah.
But hey, we're all recovered now. I had my first gig there on Saturday night. I had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
So everything's looking great. There's so much to look forward to with the road coming up. The gathering, year 10 this year, which I'm so proud of. We've got the 10 years. Probably Arnold's next year. There's so much stuff to look forward to.
Yeah,
and I've got Ep5, which is an amazing week. I'm sure you've heard of Ep4 Strength Week with Kiki and Egil. Goodness, what an event that is. I went to that for the first time last year.
Okay.
So much to look forward to.
Right.
I have no negative feelings about what's happened to me. I knew it was coming. It's fixed now, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Everything's just about moving forward in life and enjoying what time I have left.
Agreed, 100%. So let's move on to. Okay, now that I was thinking about that when you started talking about your dad. Where does the family strength origin from? Anybody before your dad who was strong, or was it just your dad and then it carried over to you?
Well, it's a really good question. I'm about to find out. I'll tell you why. There's a local sort of society, and they look into family DNA and history, and they're one of the big projects at the minute. And they're calling it Famous Faces. And I've been playing drums around Northern Ireland for 45 years, so.
Yeah.
The band that I played in, we're quite popular, so folk would know who we are. So he very kindly invited me to take part in this.
Okay.
So I gave him the DNA sample, and the family tree part has come through, but the DNA results probably in the next couple of weeks are going to come through. And that can take us back, probably, to Braveheart, the 1300s and beyond. It can go back a long, long way from your DNA. And we can see where my family originates from. So that's something I'm really excited to see.
Yeah.
Obviously, my dad's strength we know about. He's always been the strong man in the family. I've always been the musician. I only started training when I was 50. But my dad's dad, my grandfather, he was a big man. He was over 6 foot tall, but never really into strength. And he used to say to my dad when my dad was young, he started training when he was about 17.
Yeah.
He would have said, "So what if you can lift a house?" Who cares if you can lift the house? I'm like, well, that would be a pretty cool thing to do, lift the house.
Yeah.
So he didn't really get the strength thing. I think it's something you get or you don't.
I get it.
And even if you have the capacity to be strong, which clearly my grandfather would have, because I think there is DNA there.
Yeah.
But it's just the spark wasn't with him, but it was with Dad. And it was with me as an interest my whole life. You always loved strength and World's Strongest Man since 77 and stuff,
Right.
All of that, I've loved all that. But only really got involved in it in the last 13 years or so.
That's
as
crazy.
in training and getting involved in all the stuff that I do.
Right.
So it's, I think what we're going to find out just where that strength, where the family leads, on the dad's side. Obviously, you have to consider my mum's side of the family as well, because,
of course.
For example, in Scotland, all of the Highland Games, they have a clan associated with their Highland Games.
Okay.
Now, the closest Highland Games to the Denny Stones is the Aboyne Highland Games. It's like 7 miles down the road, it's very close.
Okay.
And every year, the Denny Stones make an appearance at the Aboyne Highland Games, which is the day before the gathering.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously my connection with the Denny's is obvious through my dad. But the clan that runs the Highland Games in Aboyne is the Gordon clan.
Okay.
And my mother's maiden name is Gordon, so I'm as much Gordon as I am Shanks. I always wear the Gordon tartan and stuff, and so my mum's heritage as well. So there could be things on my mum's side on the strength, and Gordon obviously clearly goes back to Scotland.
Right.
So I'm really interested to find all that out. That's something that I'll probably do a podcast myself when I have, when I've got the results, I've digested them, and I can talk about it with knowledge.
That would be fascinating.
It's very fascinating for me because it's something I plan to do anyway. And the fact that these guys came along and said, "Would you want to participate?" I'm like, "Yeah, where do you sign?"
Absolutely.
It was a no-brainer for me. So I'm looking forward to finding that out. So, that's going to be a really interesting thing to discover.
So strength at one way or the other was coded in your blood, I guess, in your DNA.
I think, well, certainly through my dad, and programmed in me. I think it means something. I think everybody has a calling in life. That's why not everybody wants to be a doctor.
No.
Not everybody wants to be a vet or a nurse. Not everybody wants to be a musician. Who wants to travel around the back of a transit van with a bunch of smelly guys,
Sleep on stage.
It's definitely not all sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, there's the music too. But yet we still do it for that short time that we have on stage. We'll spend 8 hours getting everything set up. We'll spend 4 hours taking it down.
Oh, yeah.
And we get an hour and a half, 2 hours on stage for all that effort and all those miles.
Yeah.
So that's a calling. And I think strength is a calling too, to be a strength athlete. Because, I mean, you know yourself how many hours and how much sacrifice and
injuries,
diet and training. So it's definitely a commitment. It's a lifestyle commitment.
Absolutely.
So I mean, there's a lot to be said about that side of it too. That it is in your DNA to have that calling.
I agree 100%. Let's see. Number 3. Okay. I know you're well immersed into most things that can be picked up. So, what other lifts do you enjoy training? Compounds, old strongman lifts, etc.
I love the old time stuff. My dad, before he got involved in the Denny Stones, before he first read about them back in 1971, he held the British record on the one-arm deadlift, and he held the local record on the deadlift. So the one-arm deadlift is just basically, it's like a deadlift, except you use one hand instead of two. So you can stand behind the bar like a deadlift, grab the bar in the middle, pick it up, or you can straddle it and pick it up with the lift rises between your legs, so you've got to balance the bar. So my dad was really good at that. Massive big mitts. I have strong hands with my dad. I'm the same build as my dad. Okay. But he's got his fingers are an extra inch in mine. His thumb is about twice the big of mine.
Are your hands that big? Really? I didn't know that.
Enormous hands, And my dad was 5'11", I'm 5'8". But when I was at my fighting weight of about 73, 74 kilos, okay, he was about the same when he first lifted the Denny's, 11 and a half stone over mine. But he loved all of the old time lifts. And his grip was incredible. I have a photograph of him lifting 970 pounds with no straps.
That's insane, it's insane.
It's insane.
Especially for a man his size,
Yes.
Crazy.
He tried 990 that day, couldn't move it. He could had it moving, he could hold it, he said, but he just couldn't straighten his back.
Yeah, of course.
So the type of lifts that my dad did, I grew up with those. For me that was normal. One-arm deadlifts and hack lifts, a deadlift behind your legs.
Yeah.
Jefferson lifts, the straddle deadlift.
Right.
The Kennedy lift, which is a Jefferson from 18 inches. All of those things, I loved all of those. One of the things I added in when I was training myself was heavy trap bar lifts, because I think if you're going to lift heavy weights, you need a strong core to support it. No point having strong legs and a strong back and strong hands if your traps are going to tear or if your core is going to collapse.
Right.
And I know you probably experienced it yourself. When you get to a certain weight, your core kind of folds in on itself. So I used all of those kind of lifts as supplements in the Denny training to strengthen my core. So when I did stand up with the weight of the Denny's, that it wasn't going to bend me in two.
Right. I agree. I understand exactly what you mean. And if I may add to it, is that I do exactly the same thing that you're doing. I may be primarily a powerlifter, but I always loved it. Like, how can you can bench to improve your bench, but you can also overhead, incline, floor presses, dumbbells. I mean, there's so many. And this is how I've written 2 books about training, conjugate training. And I'm just obsessed. Like, I swear, my skin is crawling. I'm obsessed with you get this. Like, how can I use this aside from, let's say, grip? I'm just saying, what can I do with it? And I'm always walking around in our absolute piece of shit gym, and I'm thinking, yeah, let's try that. Like, we haven't sat on a stupid machine in months. I swear. Maybe some lat pull downs, maybe some bicep curls, but it's always like, hey, how can you use this empty space to do something silly, but yet very functional and a lot of fun. I mean, we're having a lot of fun doing these things,
Oh yeah.
So I think, and it carries over to, like you said, to the straddle lift. And I have actually used, I have taken a screenshot and I'm using it in the third book of your straddle lift, the Kennedy lift, which was close to 800 pounds, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that the heaviest day was 345 kilos, 760 pounds.
All right.
I think that because there's a record for that, and it's in the IAWA is associated with the USAWA, so the IA is international, US is the United States All-Round Association, and they have it on their record books, and the heaviest was 755 by Chad Ullum, I think. Okay. Yeah, I think it was Chad held that, and I thought I set myself a challenge just to kind of, it wasn't an official lift, it was just, I always said at the start, you've got to be training for something and that dictates your path. So I wanted to do that. And I worked up to 760. And I was very pleased with it. We obviously no straps or anything, and I was really proud that I was able to do it. It wasn't an official lift, and I did it on a deadlift bar, which bends a bit more. Yeah. It wouldn't have passed in officials, but still was me and 760 pounds, and I stayed up. So I'm really happy with that.
A lot of weight.
Again, my dad did 970. And at the same weight as me, so anything I did, and which I was proud of, when you go to dad, I mean, it was, had a couple of 100 pounds up, but then he was he was 50 when he did that 970. I was in my late 50s, approaching 60. I'm not making excuses, I mean, but my dad is just, he's my hero,
Yeah, he's a phenom, he really is.
Yeah.
He really is.
Absolutely, but you're asking me with those lifts. I mean, yesterday the one-hand deadlift I loved, and I hold records at my age and body weight and all
absolutely.
Some records because I just enjoy doing them. And I mean, I obviously have a really good teacher in my dad, but the one that's really caught my attention in recent, just before the surgery and that, was the V-bar, the 1-inch variable bar.
Right.
Because I always tried the 2-inch bar and I was okay at that. Yeah. And I tried the 1-inch, and I actually listed lifting less on the 1 than I was on the 2. You think you should lift more. Right. But then I managed to, I've worked at it, and I found something technique-wise that really helped me.
All right.
And then, yeah.
I got dozens upon dozens of grip tools in here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, my guy is full. I honestly have no idea. As like you say, it's being creative with what you have lying there. And one of the things, and you talk about, making the hairs in your arms stand up, you'll be sitting watching TV or something, and next thing you go, oh, what if I try that with that? How would that work? And you're straight out to the garage.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what, when we drive around or we drive on our way to the gym, the supermarket, whatever, and I see, and you see, because I live outside of Athens, so I can't say it's countryside, but it's very close to that,
Yes.
So we get everything a little bit out of both. And you see these junkyards, and you see those lots of, old folks who are usually got like super rusty cars in them or just rebars. I mean, this is literally me picking up stuff from the road. This is just a rebar.
Oh, yeah.
Because, and you see it, and then you're thinking, how can I lift this? Or, what can I do for fun? It doesn't have to be a barbell all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So it's.
Oh my goodness! It's, one of the things. But it's back in the 70s, about 72 or 73. My dad was a policeman.
Okay.
He spent a lot of his time working in the office. He was out in the beat, obviously, but they brought him into the office because he was good at maths and he'd do the wages and the duty rotas and stuff.
Right.
So there was a magazine that wanted to interview him about lifting the dinny stores because that was a big deal back then. Nobody had thought it. And over here, it really caught off. And so he was talking about it, and he was in his office, in his shirt and tie, and they said, do something strong. So he went out to the car park, he had some old rope, and he's a couple of D-shaped handles that he had, and just happened to have in the car, some old rope. So he tied them around the axle of his car, and I found another car that was similar, like a Mini, and tied one around there and lifted 2 cars. And I always thought, it's so cool that my dad can lift 2 cars.
Yeah,
it's insane. I always wanted to replicate that as soon as I started lifting. So I managed to get a friend who was a breaker's yard that keeps old cars, and he had an old Mini. Yeah. And a friend who had an old Mini, but it was in really good nick. So we got that set up, and I managed to do that. And I found one of the cars really, really heavy. Yeah. And I'm thinking, why why is this one so easy and why is this one so heavy?
Right.
Turned out that there's a subframe on those. It was full of water. And it was sitting on a slight incline down the hill, so all the water had rushed to the end that I was trying to lift.
Right. So yeah.
It was heavy. But that's the sort of creativity my dad had, you know, was making up these things to help him get strong in places that he needed to be to do the end result. You know, so it's being creative to get to the end result, you know.
Crazy. Let's see. Okay, this one is I guess it's more of a personal question, I guess, because it's gonna help me. But it's concerns one of your YouTube videos. Your explanation on how to lift the demi stones is very spot on. Did all this come from trial and error, or did your dad coach you through it all?
I think it was a bit of both, if I'm honest, because when I look back at the way my dad lifts, and I look at the way that I lift, they're two completely separate techniques now. I did start off exactly the same way that Dad did, but then obviously, because I'm like that, I'd experiment and I'll try different things, you know, and try and create techniques that work for me.
Right.
You know, for example, the first time I played, he has stones at home that weigh about 800 pounds that he trained on, that he made out of concrete.
Okay.
And I remember being able to lift the big one with 2 hands when I was a teenager. But that's literally just holding like this and pull. So obviously when it comes to lifting that with one hand, it's a completely different story.
Absolutely.
So it is. And obviously I didn't start on the big one, I started trying to lift the little one.
Right.
With one hand at first, just to get lifting on rings and barbells is great, but when you have a stone, even if it's a man-made stone or a natural stone, it's a different lift. You know, and I was trying to lift my dad's just with an ordinary grip. And I could feel it starting to hover, but just couldn't quite do it.
Right.
So I thought I'll use my dad's thumb grip.
Right.
And I stuck my thumb in and pulled, and I actually felt like a horse had stood on my thumb. So good, you know.
Yeah.
So I immediately thought, rather than the full, I stuck my thumb in between, and like this, I think with this, you know, just to get the connection. And it worked. I pulled the stone off the ground and went, right, okay. But I ultimately wanted to end up where Dad was, so I just gradually built up and added wee bits and pieces in and developed things over time. But Dad lifted with the rings, with the rings in a linear thing like this, you know, so they were both facing the same way.
I see.
Where at the minute I have them more offset. Because he said that he put them in that position because it replicated the Kennedy lift, where you're standing over and you've got this kind of going on when you're standing over them. So he lifted in that position.
So like an invisible barbell between the rings.
Like an invisible barbell, and the rings in line.
I get it.
Where I always felt with the big weight, because he had the big weight in his right hand. And if you know when you're doing reverse grip on a deadlift, when your biceps is exposed, you know, his big stone weighs 200 kilos. You know, so to have an open grip and pulling on that with an exposed bicep, it just didn't sit well with me in my mind, you know, because Dad did it. He never had any injuries in his arms or anything like that. He said it didn't even hurt his thumbs, but hurt mine. You know, so I thought, how can I get that in a position where I am overhand? You know, where I'm protecting my bicep. So my technique developed slightly from Dad's, but I started off with these techniques. And then just over a period of years, just developed things into one that works for me. So when you notice the start of my video, in my intro, I make it very clear that this is how I did it.
Right.
That there definitely are other ways to do this. The techniques, there's other ways, and it's worth experimenting with that, because even when you set the stones up, I mean, I say there's 6 ways, there's probably more. Right. But if you think about it, if you're straddling, you've got heavy stone to the right, heavy stone to the left, obviously the light stone to the opposite side. So that's 4, because you can have heavy stone to the back, right? Heavy stone back left. That's 4. Then you've got your side by side, heavy to the right, heavy to the left. So that's your 6 main sort of starting positions, your setup positions that you can use. So I obviously chose, after a bit of experimentation, I'm right-handed. My right hand is my strong hand. So I went heavy stone to the right and light stone to the left behind me. You know, so that was just, again, I tried side by side, and you know, in the early days it didn't really work well for me. It just felt, because of the imbalance when you straddle, you can balance the weight
Right.
because you stand more over the big one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you stand up, then you've got that balanced load, where side by side, you can't balance that. It's
No.
always going to be heavy on the right side or the left side. You know, there's no getting past that. So I think I just found what worked best for me. If I had continued to experiment as I went up the weights and got closer, it might have changed, but I thought, I'm okay with this now, I like this, I'm sticking with it. And I stuck with that right through until I lifted the stones. Then subsequently, obviously you know Brett Nicol.
Oh yeah.
A really good friend. I mean, I couldn't do the gathering without him and all the team that he brings along. But Brett's technique in lifting the dinnies is completely different than mine, and we were all talking about side by side because it became a big thing. You know, everybody was going this side by side, and I think that the school of thought was that it was more difficult to do, and I can see why you would think that, because you can't balance the weight like you can with a straddle.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So he challenged me to join the 300 kilogram club. Right, and I hadn't lifted the full weight of the dinnies for, goodness, must have been close to a year. You know, I wasn't really training at that level. Of stones out the back that way. 278, 611 pounds. And I would have trained up to those just to keep my hand in, you know. And I was able to pick those up side by side, so I thought, I'll have a go with those and maybe hang a wee bit of weight off them. You know, trying to keep that sort of 75% against 100% split, so that you're not doing like 150, 150. You know, to try and keep it authentic. And I worked up to 300 in a couple of weeks. You know, so I thought, okay. And I took another couple of weeks at it, and I ended up with 310 kilos with literally about 4 or 5 weeks training. You know, and I actually liked it. And then I said, you know what? Why am I doing this? You know, but is there a reason for this? You know, I mean, I've lifted the dinnies. I don't really care if somebody lifts, you know, with them front, back, rear, side by side. If you press them over, it doesn't matter. Just lift the dinnies. You know, do you use hook grip? Great. Do you use open hand? Great. Doesn't matter. You know, because the challenge is to lift the dinnies. Nobody knows how Donald Denny did it. But having said that, I mean, I've read a lot of articles, obviously, over the last, because I've been reading articles on the dinnies since like 72. And James Graham put a book out about Donald Denny Uncovered. And one of the things that Denny would have talked about was the clunk of the stones. Now, if you've ever lifted 2 granite stones and you hear them banging together, there's a deep thud clunk sound. And it almost resonates. It's a wonderful sound. I mean, it really is. But you can only do that when you straddle the stones. That's the only time that because when they're side by side, they've got you between them, so they can't make contact with each other.
Understood.
Whereby if you stand up with them, you know, on a straddle style, they will clump together. I mean, Brett Nicol, his nickel walking stones will do that. My stones will do that at the back because they're granite. The Denny's will do that, and so I love the sound of it. But when Denny himself talked about the clunk of the stones, then in my mind, the only way he could possibly have done that was straddle.
I understand.
You know, so it's the only thing that I have.
There's nothing in between. As soon as you pick them up, they align with your shoulders, and then
they come together.
They climb together. That's very interesting.
You know, and that's part of my advice that I give to people as well. Is, you know, just pick up your rings really, really light. You know, it doesn't matter if they're apart or way in front of you, because if you do it light, it doesn't matter. When you stand up and allow your arms to relax, so they're just hooks, the stones, the rings will find their own centre of gravity. So if you set them straight down, and that's your finishing position after standing up in your final position, then that you've now found your starting position as well, because the shortest point between any 2 points is a straight line.
I agree.
Straight up, straight down.
I agree.
You know, so that clunk that you hear is probably the stones starting out of position. When you stand up, they're in position then, they come together, set them down, and then just do the reverse of that. You know, it's a very simple principle, because the amount of people that I see with the stones, you know, in line, there's a linear setup, and as soon as they pick up the stones, they then kind of go on an offset position.
Of course.
Automatically, and straddle. Can't go anywhere else.
I bet it's very, very discouraging as you're trying to stand up and they're touching, and I bet they will get in their own position as well because they're so heavy. So I'm guessing a lot of people have failed because they tilted forward or they pulled it backwards or whatever. I can imagine. I haven't.
I mean, one of the things I talk about a lot for people. And I don't think it's unique to my method. I think it's no matter who you are, what shape, body shape you're, what your strengths are. When you stand up with the stones, your arms get connected to your body, because you can't stand with your arm out with that kind of weight. It's going to pull you close and down. Just going to hang straight down.
Right.
You know, so all of a sudden you're making connection, and your forearms on the front is making connection with your right quad if you're right-handed. Your left forearm is going to make a connection with your left hamstring on the rear. It can't do anything else, because we don't have the strength to do this like stretch out thing, you know.
Nah.
So I mean, all of those little pointers, you know, if you apply those in your finishing position, set the stone straight down, and then just reverse that. That's your starting position. You know, it is really simple.
Right.
But you know, when you're first doing this and you don't have the benefit of other people's experience, which Dad never had.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I had his experience. I mean, I was very lucky. I had, you know, at the time, probably the best man in the world you could ask about this thing. So I was very blessed.
Absolutely.
But now you've got guys like Mark Haydock, you've got Brett Nichol, you know, you've got Matt Jones, you've got so many people now who are experienced lifters of the Dinnies. I mean, we always had Jim Sprain, who to this day is the life's man to lift the stones. Yeah. You know, and I mean, we have Chloe Brennan now as well, you know.
Of course.
I mean, she put the temper, she was 63 kilos, I think.
She's just, it's amazing.
And there's 70 kilos something now, and she had a fantastic lift off.
It doesn't even make sense, really. It doesn't even make sense.
No.
Well, you didn't make sense at all. Let me get back to my history. I got my notes on you. And so is it true you have lifted the stones 9 times?
Yes, I would say I've had 9 successful lifts. Not on 9 separate occasions. There's been times that we've done them a couple of times.
Okay, I mean,
you know, where you warm up, you get them off the ground. I'm not happy with that, so I always wanted to end up with a good position where I stood up. And the one I did in 2017, where I stood up and held him, smiled at Dad, and had a bit of a
I remember when you went like this and then he hugged you up. I've seen it like 30 times. I've watched this.
That was 50 years of wishing, of dreaming, you know, in a few seconds coming out. And there was a lot of emotion, a lot of history, and just a lot of, I don't even know what you could call it, because it was such a deep feeling. Right. And I remember that I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't just go, it's great, you know, like you do sometimes you're playing drums.
Right.
this came from deep down in my gut. So it did, you know.
It's just pure joy, and then you're looking at the man who gave birth to you, who already did that in 1972, and I want to add to that just a small asterisk, because what you said I think is very important, that he had no help. Nobody guided him through it. He just showed up. I'm guessing he thought about it. He thought maybe this way, that way, and then he just picked it up, which is insane.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, what Dad did at the time, which was very poignant, he was a policeman. So, as a policeman, he would have attended like road traffic accidents. They would have taken meticulous measurements, you know, of skid marks and, you know, different aspects of the accident to make it to file a report. Yeah. So he thought, if I contact the local police, because we live in Belfast, Northern Ireland, the Dinnie Stones are at the Tark in Aberdeenshire in Scotland. You know, it's like 4.5 hours drive after you get off the
it's that far, I didn't know.
You know, far away. So he had been speaking to David Webster, obviously at the time, which is how he got everything set up, and he got all the information that David had on the stones and Donald Denny, etc. Yeah. But in terms of training for them, he thought, if I speak to the local police, and he spoke to a Constable Dawson out there, who came out and did what policemen do. He came out and did him a sketch with the ring heights, the internal measurements, all the stuff I passed on to you. Right. He actually sent him it on a yellow piece of paper, the hand drawn, the shape of Dinnies, and little X's and arrows with a line between them with measurements. Right. And so I still have that. We still have that bit of paper to this day. Yeah. You have that. I'll send you a photograph of it. You should frame that. All of those dimensions were on it. They're all accurate. And then obviously he got the weights. Now David Webster had probably measured with him on equipment at the time. The stones haven't diminished at all because they're granite and they're still exactly the same shape. We know now that they weigh 332 kilos, 733 pounds. David estimated them or measured them at 785 pounds at the time with Dad. So Dad trained up to 800 thinking, you know, I'll try and get a wee bit past this. Yeah. When he arrived on the day, he said that the Dinnie stones felt really light.
He said that.
Who says that? Who ever in the right mind says
Apparently,
that?
your dad says that.
He had trained up to the 800-pound mark, you know. But all of those dimensions were sent to him. So then he had a friend make him his training rings, which I have out in the garage. And that was 1971 they were made by a man called Joe Adams. He was a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And he worked in an engineering firm called Mackey's.
Okay.
So he made him the rings that could screw off the top of the pins.
Nice.
That's how he was able to load the pins, you know. And I always say my dad was the first man to successfully use that method.
Yeah.
Because James Blaine and Sid Strachan was a good friend of Dad's, both from Aberdeenshire, around the corner from the Dinnies. James Blaine's lived at the Dinnies in his day. Jim's around 80 now. Okay. But in his day, he was the second man after Dad to lift them with bare hands. He also used a set of rings and pins of the same, so roughly the same design.
Okay, I see.
They didn't know each other, they didn't talk to each other, they didn't get the ideas.
Okay.
They both came up simultaneously. So where Dad was the first to successfully use it.
Yeah.
Jim, well, it wasn't Jim, it was Sid Strachan developed them, and Jim now has them and used them. Sid's passed away now, unfortunately. Yeah. So there was two sets of guys using these methods back then, you know, and they didn't know about it. So obviously, Jim knew about my dad because when he did what he did. But those pins were made based on that drawing, and he also then made himself the big concrete blocks that he trained on, and he made them.
I love that. You know, there's that old black and white picture. Was it from the paper? I can't remember. What is? Yeah. I love that image. I love it. I really do. It's so inspiring.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring. It really is.
Yeah. Those are heavy. I managed to lift those stones, but I couldn't lock out with them. I got them off the ground.
I see.
I did, and there was definitely wind on them because I could feel them moving. You know, when stones come off the ground, they kind of go loose in your hands. It's hard to describe. You'll have felt it yourself. You know when a stone is still on the ground. You know when a stone's off the ground because it does have that feeling where it's kind of settling, and then it kind of gives up, fights you, and then it goes, okay, you win.
You can feel your arms. I've never lifted stones. I've only done Dinny ring training, I guess straddle lift once.
Right.
And then, but I do use the one-hand deadlift from like a suitcase deadlift from the side. And
cool.
Recently I've shown you this one, which this is what I don't want to start talking about myself, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, okay, it's obviously a partial range of motion. It's a lot of weight. So how do I train, like longer range of motion? So I stood on these wooden blocks that you saw in the video, like to make it tougher. And then personally, just to add to that, because you're the expert and I'm not, I've done, but after a quite strenuous deadlift training about last year, I pulled 170 kg with one hand, but with strap. I had my hand strapped.
That's a lot. 170 is a lot.
I didn't look it out, didn't go all the way back because I was completely pooped.
Yeah.
It went up, I saw my ancestors, I was like, okay, time to put it back down.
Yeah.
I didn't want to pass out, and it's a basic fitness establishment, if you want to call it that. So there's everybody in there is so clean, nice and clean. I'm the only, I'm not saying I stink, but I'm always the guy with the ripped clothes, ripped shirts, and this is an ongoing joke with my girls. So like, oh, you're wearing a shirt with no holes in it to train? That is, and she's like, that's amazing. I said, don't worry, we'll take care of it in about a week. It'll be torn anyway, because I'm always doing stupid nonsense, So.
I'll be honest with you, I have a favourite pair of tracksuit bottoms that I would have worn, and they have holes in them. Right. And my dad was the same. He had those little baggy tracksuit bottoms that he used. That he trained them with holes in them. So it's, I don't know what it's. I think when we go out, I train in the garage, and my dad did too.
Right.
So it's just me most of the time when I'm out there. And I don't wear dress for looks, I dress for comfort.
I agree.
That's all part of getting your mindset right, But that one hand deadlift, that's a great exercise, particularly for the use hip grip on a bar and thumb grip.
Yeah.
Thumb grip's going across, hip grip's this on a bar, to stop the bar rolling it.
So this is, I'm sorry I interrupted, but is this the hook grip then? No, wait, that's the thumb grip, right? Here, is it, or?
So it's, these two are covering your thumb for hip grip.
Got it.
And these two are covering your thumb for thumb grip.
Oh man, how do you? I'm not a huge guy, but that is not very easy. I have to admit,
Yeah.
Yeah, just pull my thumb.
All I need is 5 minutes with you. If you and I had 5 minutes together, I would have you sorted right out. You know, but when you're doing these things face to face, my goodness, it's so much easier.
Right.
To show somebody when you're there. Yeah.
You'll get there. It is more painful. It is more painful.
There is a bit of flexibility required. But when you hang a bit of weight off that, it does kind of pull you into position as well. Yeah, no, it's weird.
They're used to handling hamburgers.
This is all about we talk about adapting. You know, my dad could hold 200 kilos like this, you know, without, you know, because he was able to lift this big stone. And I have a photograph of him lifting the big one, and you can see his bones outside.
This. Wow.
Like this, yeah. You know, but the reason that he went this wasn't to make it easier to lift or because he couldn't hold it. It was to try and replicate the feeling of a barbell.
I see.
Because the original thought when he was training the rings was if I stick a piece of metal in there and straighten top of the ring out, then I can hold it more like a barbell.
Right.
But clearly that's cheating. You know, the challenge is to pick up a ring. Right. So he thought if I stick my thumb in, then that's going to straighten out the curve.
I agree.
So that's why the thumb then came across, and then because if you are holding normally, your hands are going to be on this kind of shape with the ring, where your thumb kind of straightens, see everything's nice and straight again. You know, so that was his thinking.
So the grip kind of dictates, it kind of forces the ring to come to you instead of you, like myself, the idiot, who last week I was pulling like this, because it was crushing my knuckle, my pinky. And it was quite painful.
Yes, it will be. Yeah, you will get a bit of that.
And this is why I stopped and I said, man, I got no hands left. It was hurting quite a lot.
Okay, so turn it round 390 degrees. Upside down. Keep going. One more. Go the other way.
Oh yeah, so.
The other way. There you go. Yeah, because then you're not. So you grip the top. There you go. Look at all that space you have now.
Bravo, Terry. So it could have been, you know, but you know what amazed me just now, because you notice the small differences in the curve, and I was like, but it's the same thing. And once I turned it in front of you, I was like, oh, it's not the same thing. How could you tell from over there, honestly? How could you see that?
That's okay, because I mean, because it's an oval shape,
right.
all of the big turn is in the small ends.
Right.
So it is, but the wider end is a much more gentle curve.
And it fits my hand.
Yeah, you can see the difference. Yeah, so you can fit a big hand in there. Now, what you will do in that is you'll lose an inch on your height.
Yeah.
But then again, it's only 144 kilos compared to the 188.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it is up to 2 stones.
Right.
Once you get your hand, I would put my hand on that 1 second and then completely forget about it and concentrate all my effort on picking up 188. That's the one where all the action's at, you know.
The other one just follows, and then you're all of a sudden
it just follows.
They're both suspended, right?
Yeah, when you train it enough, you know. But what I would say is keep working at the one-arm deadlift.
Yeah.
You know, Dad was pulling the one-arm deadlift about 200 kilos in that.
What?
From the floor. Now, he was using a cambered bar, so he didn't need hook grip because it didn't spin.
Okay.
You know, I had to use, obviously, hook grip because I was only ever using a straight bar.
Right.
And I couldn't pull anywhere near 200, 160 was my best.
We're talking about with the thumb grip or the hook grip you pulled one?
Hook grip, because it's a straight bar.
I see. Yeah, okay.
Just regular. You don't need thumb grip because you're not straightening a curve. You've got a straight bar. So it's much more natural to do this.
I get it. I understand it.
Yeah. It's like I say, it's adapting, Terry. It's adapting to your circumstances, whatever object you have to lift. And to have this and this and this at your disposal, so you can choose whichever one is more appropriate for the lift. You know, I think it's better to train them all. And then you can automatically assess yourself which one's the most appropriate for whatever challenge you set yourself, you know.
I'll be doing more training this week, and I'm actually going to try what you suggested. I have to, Kathy, excuse me for a second. I got my carabiners here, or my collection of carabiners.
Yay!
By the way, this is not in my garage. I don't have a garage. This is the 3rd floor apartment.
Okay.
And I'm in my bedroom, so.
It's all about adapting. You gotta adapt. You know, if you need a training space, then you're gonna find somewhere in your house.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna work for you. You know.
So, I don't know what happened, but okay, I got it. I lost my voice from the excitement.
You need a doctor.
For real. Now? Oh, goodbye. No, all right. So this is what you were suggesting a few days ago.
No, go the opposite way around. Keep going. That's it there. Okay. There you go.
Oh, I see.
Okay. That's not going to slip out because you have so much weight pulling that down. That's not going to. You're not going to hurt yourself.
Noted.
You know, with the weight slipping out and nipping you, it's not going to happen.
Noted. I think I choked to myself just from the urge to show you. But I'm alright now. I'm good. So actually, let me have some water here. Okay. So we've actually covered two more questions with as the conversation rolled out about the thumb grip and the hook grip. No, I did it reverse. I did the opposite. And I'm gonna move on to, okay, that's a bit of a lifter's question, but heel shoes or flats. I've seen people use both. I know you prefer flats for straddle lifts.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that we talked about was in terms of your ring heights. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you imagine you need 20.5 inches and you need 18 inches for the two rings if you're training for the dinnies.
Right.
So if you're on like service rings or ones that you make that are of those dimensions, then the rings are at the right height. Okay? Mm-hmm. So imagine now that you're doing a deficit. So you raise yourself, say a 1 foot block, and you reach way down.
Okay.
That's going to be almost impossible. Okay. Now that's I'm over exaggerating now, but the principle is the higher you are, the more you have to reach down, the more difficult the lift is.
Right. You're increasing range of motion.
Yeah. So if you think about squat shoes, which have like about a 1 and a bit inch heel on them, you're raising your body height. Say you're 5'8", all of a sudden you're 5'9".
I agree.
So you're having to reach down for an extra inch, and every inch at those kind of weights, I think every inch is a prisoner. You want as many inches back. So I wear flat shoes to get myself as low in my starting position as possible. Right. Obviously, if I'm doing a squat, you know, if you put a barbell on your back and stand on your toes, you can see how much more depth you can get. Yeah. You know, by getting your heels off the ground. Right. But then you put your heels flat on the ground and try the same squat with just a barbell, you probably won't get as deep. So for a squat, great. For bench press, great. But for static lifts like deadlift, straddles, high trap bars, ring pulling, as flat as you can get, you know, bare feet is obviously the ideal. You know, but obviously a lot of federations won't let you lift in bare feet, you know, so I always wore Converts, which have like the soles like that. When you stand on it, this just goes completely. You know, so that's why I want to get as low. I want to make myself as small as possible, so I have to reach down less. Right,
I agree. I've used flats in my training for a long time, and very recently, about last year, I didn't switch, but I also got me some weightlifting shoes because I wanted to do some of the old man lifts for the new book, you know, because it's going to be a massive encyclopedia of exercise variations and stuff. I'm going to send it to you as soon as it's done, of course.
I look forward to seeing that. Thank you.
And this is why I was asking, because just like you said, the flat shoe will allow you to be closer to the floor, but at the same time, the heel shoe may allow somebody to be able to squat back and deeper. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. If you're doing a squat, you know, it depends really on the lift, what footwear you're doing. But if it's static lifts off the floor, I 100%, you know, flat heels, 100%. Because guys come to me for training, and have these wonderful looking training shoes with the big comfortable heels on them. Yeah. Like, get those off right away. You're just making life hard for yourself, you know, for this kind of lift.
Mm-hmm. I get it. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is the next one. This one again is me geeking out, but you introduced the Shanks lift to US. You say US. I say USAWA.
Yeah, okay.
But USAWA. I got it. In 2019, to honor your father, can you explain exactly what it is? The Shanks lift.
Yes. Okay. So it was I was involved in getting it introduced, but with the USAWA and the IAWA, who are connected, we share a lot. It is pretty much different branches of the same worldwide organisation.
Right.
I talked to Steve Gardner, who's the president of the IAWA, or Steve had talked to me about introducing something, because you see so many people now, because the Dinnies have caught on, so many people are now training with rings.
Yeah.
And some people just train with them because they like it, and probably never, it's not that they probably aren't capable, just don't want to go to the full weight, but they work up to 100, say 400 pounds, 180 kilos, or they work up to 230, 500 pounds, stuff like that.
Right.
So we kind of thought, wouldn't it be lovely to have that as a competitive form of lifting? So say an 18-year-old kid can actually go and do it and actually break a record or whatever in it. So what we did was I put together a draft set of rules and ran it past Steve. Because Steve's I'm thinking of it from a practical point of view, how I train with it.
Yeah.
And how the Dinnies sit, and how you've got to maintain the essence of the Dinnie Stones lift.
Right.
So a couple of set of rules. Steve and I talked about it. We built a bit of flexibility in, because not everybody's rings are perfect height, so we can't insist that they're 20.5 inches and 18. So we built an inch of tolerance either way.
Yeah, I get it.
And those, because there are some older rings that you can get, that are a wee bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Some are going to be a bit lower. But obviously, the lower you go, you're just making it hard for yourself. So why would you want 16-inch rings to train on,
Right.
But the people have what they have. So we tried to acknowledge that there are rings around, and we didn't want to be too restrictive. But what we did insist on was that the small weight is 75% of the big weight. Because the small Dinnie Stone is approximately 75%. There's 44 kilos of a difference between the two, but it's approximately 75%. So we thought we'd set a number to maintain that imbalance and height, because that's the two main features of the grip. Then there's your setup, and you're not setting up on a balanced bar, because you've got imbalanced weights, and you've got an offset in your shoulders for the high and the low, depending which way you're standing to it, So we built all of those in and brought it in as a competitive form of lifting. And there's a wee table, like a formula. So if you're putting 100 kilos in the front, you put it in, it'll tell you the back must be 75. If you're putting 105 kilos in the front, it'll tell you exactly what the small weight should be. So we've been maintaining that.
That's what that was, and I'm sorry to interrupt again. But I saw that chart in the was it the AAWA site?
It'll be USAWA and I will have that chart.
Yeah. I saw it the other day. I swear I read it, and I was like, I do not understand this. And then I just closed the page.
So it's maintaining 75%.
I see.
So if you've got 200 kilos in the big one, 150 in the wee one. That's roughly the way it works.
If I had 200 kilos on the big one, I would throw a fucking party. Man.
Do you know what? I mean, for me, 200 kilos, it sounds scary, but why not set your sights on 100 kilos? Get that, then set your sights on 105 kilos or 110 kilos. See the mini goals, Terry, it removes that. That's where I want to be in the end.
Right.
But for now, I want 100. That's manageable.
Actually,
and then I've got 100. So the mini goals makes this whole thing a much more manageable process. So we got those rules down. It's not just a case of them. We got the rules that that's it introduced. We had the World Championships, and they were over in Kansas. So that was the USAIA World Championships, which I was competing in that year. So when the weekend was over, it was 2 days of lifting. So everybody was busted. We had 3 days of competition. It was a great competition. It was lovely being out in Kansas. It was just a lovely part of the world. But they had the AGM of the council, where they discuss, issues about the organisation, and there's motions put forward, by certain people in the organisation to say, can we change that rule, or can we introduce this lift, or things for consideration. So what we did was we put up the Shanks lift for consideration. Obviously, I call it the Shanks lift because my dad had been the first man to use this.
Of course.
And to bring this method, obviously we know about Sid Strachan, but because my dad was the first man to successfully use it, I thought it was. I didn't think it was being cheeky.
No.
Suggesting that we name it after my dad. So it was put forward to the council, and they approved it, and it was put out to the floor, and all the lifters who were there,
Well
and
deserved.
it was, they asked me this, and I could barely speak. I was so emotional.
I can
You know,
imagine.
it was really tough, you know, because I thanked them, because it basically means my dad's immortalised forever.
Agreed.
And I'll probably get emotional if I keep speaking about this. So, but one of the things that I said is I didn't take it for granted that it was going to be a yes, you know, because there might have been objections to it, there might have been other suggestions, but it was passed, you know. It's just a wonderful moment for me, you know, to be there to represent my dad.
Right.
It was like when I did the Arnolds, you know, lifted the stones at the Arnolds.
Yeah.
I felt that it wasn't about me being there, I was representing my dad
Right,
and my family.
right.
You know, because I know if he had been there and in his time and when he was strong, you know, he would have done 10 times better than I did. So it was always about, you know, just keeping the old man's name out there.
Right.
And when they passed it, I said, look, we're all here. It was a bit like, you know, at the Worlds here when I did the V-bar thing, I said, look, we're all here.
Yeah.
You know, we passed this lift. Would it be okay if I set the first record?
Yeah.
Just on behalf of Dad, you know?
Yeah.
They said, yeah, no problem. Like, I was tired. My hands were sore, my back was sore, everything was sore. But I pulled 330 kilos.
Again. Once
It was just a lovely thing. I think it was 192 or something on the front. I can't remember what the back was. It was in proportion, 75% of that, whatever that was.
That's just crazy.
But the whole thing came to 330. You know, and I felt a lot more in me, but it was a number I'd set myself for the day. I knew I didn't want to hurt myself, you know, because of I stayed myself all weekend, but I thought that was a perfect number. It was 2 kilograms shy of total anyway. It didn't matter.
No.
You know, and that record still stands in my category as an open record, which I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
But it was lovely. It was just, you know, it was a perfect end, a perfect weekend, you know. So that's the background. It was just replicating the method that people use to train and allowing people to actually, you know, work within their abilities, you know,
Right.
where you have people who probably aren't capable or aren't interested in food weight, that they can look at their weight category, see what their record is, or be competitive.
I understand.
You know, so all of a sudden, like 150 kilograms total weight can be something, it can be a thing, you know.
Absolutely. It is strength is subjective after all. So, I mean, it's, you know, like you can be the best version of yourself, and that's what's the beauty of lifting. That's why we all do it anyway. Yeah. This is what I told this is what I told my girlfriend. I said it's a Greek saying. I think I'm gonna translate it. That I hope I don't fuck it up. But it's comparison is the thief of joy. As in, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I've deadlifted like 265 in competition, and there are people who are pulling 400 kilograms for reps. And this is what I always told her, because I was always demanding about how do I do better. And she was like, dude, you cannot do this to yourself. Because you're going to wake up unhappy and lift unhappy. So what's the point? So
So I think if you reset your thinking on that and don't think about what other people are lifting, think about being better than you were.
Right.
We talked about the mini goals. So your best deadlift ever has been 100 kilograms.
Right.
Okay, let's aim for 105.
Right.
You can't control what everybody else is doing, but you can control that and set your targets. And the joy that you get then, because it's a PB, and then you go to 110, then you go to 200 or whatever it is.
Right.
You want to be 300 kilos for 515 for Thor. You know, I think, say for example, my first goal of deadlift was about 130 kilos.
Okay.
And I remember pulling it and being absolutely over the moon. I had to use straps, I had to use all sorts of hitching.
Right.
And I got them through. You know, so that feeling of me doing that can't be any better than Thor's feeling of that, because it's relative to me.
Of course.
You know, and then you go out to 150, you got past 200 and all of a sudden, but each time I got a PB on the deadlift,
right,
I got that feeling of that's a PB.
Right.
Wonderful feeling. You know, so that's your joy. You know, but then if you think, oh, that 210 I pulled, you know, there's another guy down the road pulling 220. Right. That's where the thief, I think, it kicks in and steals your joy. You know, so because you can't control that, you can just control yourself.
This is something I had to learn in about 2015. I had already been training since about 7 years, and A friend of mine in the gym told me this is incredibly interesting because I've competed nearly 30 times, mostly powerlifting, a couple of strongman meets. I don't go around telling people I'm a strongman because I'm not. I'm a strongman enthusiast. I love the sport, and I do train on occasion. But this is what a friend of mine said who just literally lifted for a few years. As in, and I'm not trying to degrade that. I'm just saying that he was never as obsessed. Like my life still at 45 spins around my training constantly. Even through 13, I got 13 injuries in my body. And he told me at some point, he's like, do you ever enjoy training? Because I was kicking my bag and punching myself, as in not punching myself to shock anybody, because I was so angry at myself. And I said, this is bullshit. Like I was lifting that a year ago. I said, what happened? And he's like, do you ever enjoy training, or do you come in here to feel worse and then get back home and then feel worse the next day? He just crushed me like a bug, and I thought, I had no response. I was like, okay. And it's been I've been lifting for 18 years. It's been about a decade, maybe a little less, that I'm really having a lot of fun at the gym. Even if it didn't go as well, just take a little bit of weight down and enjoy yourself. And now it took me a long time though. It took me a long time to be able to enjoy myself.
I mean, reaching these goals that we set for ourselves, it's a lifetime thing. It's a cycle.
Right.
Because one of the things I never wanted to do was put a timeline on a number. Because that's when you start to rush and you make mistakes, so you cut corners, or you go too heavy too soon, you start hurting yourself, and then when you start doing that, then I think when those injuries start creeping in, I think that's maybe a downward cycle. I don't know, thank God I've never lost a callus in my arm. I've never had an injury that would debilitate me from training, but anytime I felt a niggle, I just put the weights down, I go in, have something to eat, sit down, have a glass of wine, and think, all right, I'll come back that tomorrow,
Or 2 glasses of wine.
Yeah, okay, exactly, yeah. Well, one of the things for me was anytime, particularly with the Denny's, we talked about that time in 2017 when I got the lift that I'm most proud of. That all happened in a space of minutes, seconds, but from 2014, when I first collected all my dad's weights from Scotland that he'd given away, and brought them back home and started training on rings. That process where I would go down initially to Dad's house, because we kept the weights at Dad's, on a Thursday night I would go down and train with him. And I did that, and then eventually the weights all moved to my house, and he would come down to me, we'd train together. That's the bit where I look back on all those times with Dad, and and me doing maybe, say, I used to do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1 it was. So 5 reps were 100 kilos, 4 reps were 180, 3 reps were 230, 2 reps were 270, 1 rep with 320, and 1 rep with full rate. So that was my program.
It's a lot of work.
And Dad would have said, well, I would have done that 3 times a week, and I would have done it with 800, and all very matter of fact, and I'm like that. But it was very motivational.
Right.
It was very motivational for me. I remember in 1997, I got a condition called Guillain-Barré syndrome. It left me completely paralysed. And I got a most amazing consultant, a guy called Dr. Hawkins. And when I was in recovery, I couldn't move anything, so he would come and say, can you do this with your arm? At this stage, I could probably do this. I'm like, no. So the next day when he came, I could do this, but he would go, no, I want you to do this.
Right.
It was always just, and then he would do this when I could do this.
I get it.
He was always a step ahead of me. And I used to curse at him and swear at him and say, because I was like, look what I can do. No, that's not good enough.
Right.
So Dad had that, he had that in his mind too. It was the same principle.
Right.
When I would have done that, he wasn't doing it to tell me how great he was.
Right.
He was doing it to motivate me to be better than I was.
Right.
And that's what I said a minute ago. It's about being better than you were. Not being better than anybody else. I think if I could have taken Dad's records, I don't think I would have. But it would have been nice to know I could have, but it was never going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I get it.
It's one of those things. His stuff is his stuff, and I never wanted to touch that. I wanted my own story, which I always seen as an extension of his.
That's very beautiful. That's a beautiful thing to say, and very inspiring at the same time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not trying to be dramatic, kind of, storybook stuff, that's genuinely how I felt.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add a little bit on to Dad's story, because he started all of this with the Denny Stones. He showed the world it was possible, I mean, and that's something I'm so proud of. And what I'm really proud of now is the gathering. That's something that started it actually started in 2016, where we made Stoneland.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a bunch of guys, there was 7 previous Denny Stone lifters, including like Bill Crawford, Jan Todd, my dad, there was Jim Sprain, there was Brett Nickel, I was there obviously, and my dad. So I seen my dad and Bill Crawford talking to each other. First time I'd ever met.
Yeah.
And I thought, because Bill Crawford had written articles over the years with my dad, and they talked on the phone, but to see them actually meeting, and David Webster being there, and Terry Todd being there, and John.
Dream team.
That was, wow, seeing those guys, meeting, knowing about each other for 40, 50 years, meeting for the first time, and I thought, wouldn't it be lovely if everybody who lifted stones, because it's a very solitary thing. My dad trained in his home when out there, so did that. There's no other lifters, no help. I thought, wouldn't it be lovely if all of those lifters could meet, for the first time, and share their stories and talk about their experiences. So that was in my mind for the first gathering, because I knew there was a website by Gordon Denny that listed all of the lifters.
Okay.
And at that stage, I was number 49. So there was only 48 lifters. So if you take off Donald Denny and his dad, that's 45. Take off Dad, that's 44. Take off James Sprain, he was there, 43. Bill Crawford, 42. So all of a sudden, there was only 30-something lifters that I had to contact. So I spent pretty much a year doing that. And I contacted them all, with the exception of one guy passed away.
Okay.
One guy was from Finland. He was like Prime Minister or something.
Okay.
Bergmanis.
Oh yeah, a great lifter.
Yeah.
Great lifter.
Couldn't get a hold of him. Couldn't get Dave Price. But I got everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And there was about 30 turned up for that first gathering that we had exactly a year later.
Okay. Awesome.
It was on the first Sunday in August in 2017. And then every year it has grown, it has got bigger. We've added the games in now with all natural stone lifting. And here we are, year 10. I can't believe it.
That's insane.
But that was all about my dad talking to Bill Crawford. That was the little spark that I seen that day, and I thought, wouldn't it be lovely? And you know what? I think the gathering has played its part. It's not the only thing it does it, because other stone lifting events have turned up. The Arnolds are now including stone lifting. Ep5 is a whole stone lifting week.
Right.
You have all of these. I mean, Jimmy McGregor's running all of his McGregor Games, and you see things, out in Canada. You see things in America.
Oh yeah. We're doing it here. I've been picking up stones every once in a while.
But to see that growth, and I think the gathering that's not the sole reason, but it's certainly played its part.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really, really proud of that, And the fact that my dad, 91, is still around to see that, and David Webster got to see that. I mean, the very first one, I called it Denny Steens, because they call them Steens in Scotland.
Right.
Denny Steens, well, they pronounce them Steens. Denny Steens in the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I called the first one.
Yeah.
And I called it the Gathering because I played drums in a Queen tribute band for 33 years. We only just recently stopped touring with that.
Okay.
And there was a movie called Highlander.
Yeah.
And they talked about the Gathering. I thought, that sounds brilliant.
Right.
So it was more based on the Highlander movie than it was on, they talk about the Highland gatherings.
Right.
The next year, I talked to David Webster, because he'd always wanted to have a Donald Denny Day.
Yeah.
And I said, David, would you mind, when we do this event next year, if we call it Donald Denny Day? And he thought, I love this, thank you. And we made him chieftain.
Of course.
We called it Donald Denny Day The Gathering, so I now call it the Donald Denny Day Gathering. And that's maintained its name now since 2018, all the way through to now. And so the fact that Dad got to see that, David Webster got to see, he got to see them for about 4 or 5 years before he sadly passed away. So it's wonderful that these guys, and my dad will be remembered, David Webster will be remembered.
Absolutely.
Long after I'm gone.
You will be remembered.
These games and the Shanks lift, and so that's perfection for me.
That must be so gratifying to see all that build up to this enormous
I'm
culture.
really blessed to still have him,
Yeah.
and the fact that he gets to see all of this, We have the Irish Stone Monsters now over here in Ireland. We have Indiana Stones, David Keown, who's now travelling the world promoting Irish stone lifting. He's written his own book, his book's been published. He's documenting all of this. It's wonderful to see all of this happening. Really, I'm so grateful. Yeah.
You guys have just built an entire culture around it, and it's also very moving to see how much. This is what I enjoy the most, I have to say, because I knew you were humble because I've seen you interviews, or you used to do podcasts on your own YouTube channel.
Yes,
I've seen like 3 of them, 2 or 3 of them, and you always spoke with so much love, and you were always so giving. Like there hasn't been a time where we've talked quite a lot online. I actually was scrolling up the other day. I was like, oh, okay, there's a
I did that too.
quite a lot of conversation. It didn't seem like it. If somebody told me, I'd be like, yeah, maybe like 2 or 3 screens worth of scrolling up, and it was quite a lot of conversation. And I hope and I feel that I'm the same way, and I aspire from people like you, guys from like Magnus Vermagnuson, and although I do hold an online coaching, let's say business, I mean, I'm not a rich man, but it's always like when somebody approaches me in the gym, I am very, very glad to show them. And most people are not. I'm like, hey, why don't you do it this way? And I've helped a lot of people this way.
I like to offer people options. I don't think, I never train somebody or give people advice with the intention of saying this is the only way to do it or this is the best way to do that.
Right.
This is, you're providing options, I think, to people through our training,
Yeah.
And I loved it because a lot of the things that I got bad. So I'm passing them on.
Exactly.
Because I remember when James Crossley, who was, I don't know if you ever seen the Gladiators program over here in the UK.
No.
It was a TV show on a Saturday night. It was a big game show. These athletes, pitting themselves against members of the public.
Yeah.
So James was one of the original the original Gladiators on the program. So very famous in the UK,
Okay, I didn't know
he
that.
started doing the Denny's, and I showed him my dad's thumb grip, and he used that because he briefly held the world record for lifting and holding the Denny's stones. And he did a great job on it, But I was very proud of the fact that he used the hook grip.
Right, it's the small things.
My dad's thumb grip, which is still things like that, and I'm very proud of that. Because that came from Dad to me, James.
Right.
So my dad developed that himself. Nobody showed him that.
Nobody
He
showed
didn't even know it was a hook grip. Because his hands were that strong, he never needed to use his thumbs anyway.
Right.
But he said that really played a part when he was doing the multiple lifts when he carried the stones.
Yeah.
The lift and set down method, that really taxes your grip. So he said it was very useful for that. It allowed him to sort of hold on to the stones for that length of time to do the 25 reps across the bridge.
Really?
That's what, when you think about it, you're doing the lift and set down, you lift, swing them forward, set them down, reposition, lift, swing forward. So that's multiple reps.
Oh, that's a lot of
work. With the weight of the Denny stones, it's nasty.
It's a lot of work, and I cannot imagine the stress on the thumb. It has to be.
I did it on Petard Bridge, not with the Denny stones. I was in my 50s, it was too late for me, but I did it with Brett Nichols' nickel walking stones.
Yeah, the nickel stones.
But they're still 550 odd pounds, and they're heavy stones.
Yeah.
So I did that with my dad's thing. I remember Dad telling me that when he got to the end of the width of the bridge in 73, that the last 6 inches was the hardest because he just completely spent. And there was literally like this left to do.
Yeah.
And he said he just had to really dig deep. I felt exactly the same. The stones were just about in the recess.
Yeah.
And Brett says, come on, you need to do one more. And I'm like, I can't. And then my dad's voice kind of came into my head.
Yeah.
At that last second, I said, right, okay. And that just gave me the strength to get across the line.
Right.
But really, with my thumbs, I couldn't feel my thumbs for about a month afterwards.
I cannot imagine what it's like. But I guess I will be finding out soon because I will be doing it more often. I really want to do it. It's in my bucket list. I've been talking to my girl about it for 5 years now. It's been 21 or 22 since I contacted you.
Oh, it's time you did something about it, most definitely. And I help you every step of the way.
I appreciate that.
Send the videos, we can talk like this if you wish, just video calls. It's absolutely fine. Yeah, I would love to help you in that.
I would love that, and I appreciate it. And let me see if I have anything. It's funny because I guess you cannot see me here, but if you watch the video, you will see me. That I'm like, I'm crossing out the questions because as we keep talking, I'm like, oh shit, we talked about that, and then it was like, oh yeah, the thumb grip question. Okay, let's cross that out. So I'm kind of running out of questions.
It's all good. It's all good.
Let me see if I have any other.
I could talk about this all day, man. It's such a passion for me. I could talk about it all day long.
Absolutely, me too.
Yeah. Like one of the things you talked about earlier on, while you're looking through that, is you talked about you keeping your music and your lifting separate.
Yeah.
You know, and you play drums like me. I think to play drums, you need to be a bit crazy in the head.
Yeah,
and the lift stones, you need to be a bit crazy. So there's definitely a crossover.
Absolutely.
From the mentality of being a drummer.
Yeah,
you know, that whole thing.
Absolutely.
That you have to tap into to get that aggression, to get the power in your playing, your personality out.
You have
I found that there's a lot of things I've done in my life that I thought at the time, like for example music, learning to play the drums, I thought that was a career in itself.
Yeah.
But through learning to play the drums, I got involved with a band called Clan and Drummer.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen it on your bio.
Yeah. So they're a Scottish tribal band. So by being a drummer, I was able to slip in and play with those guys without having to learn. You know, I was able to feel their music and play it.
Right.
What I learned through those guys was how to dress. You know, because I don't wear a normal kilt, I would wear a proper, I don't proper is the right word, but it would be more traditional.
Right.
If we would play it with a big bit of material that you fold up and wrap it around you.
Yeah.
They taught me that. You know, and I learned a lot of Scottish traditions through those guys. You know, I've been stage managing events all my musical life, you know, putting on concerts and shows and, you know, making sure everything's right for my own band, for other bands, for multiple shows. So all of those skills I brought to the gathering. The knowledge of the Denny Stones through my dad, I brought to the gathering. It was a lifetime of knowledge I didn't even realise I had.
Right.
You know, but able to speak in front of an audience through being a performer.
Yeah,
I was able to do that at the MC for the gathering. You know, lifting the Stones and my mum's connection to the Stones, so the family thing, all of those things, when it came to doing the gathering, which I think has been my calling all my life, not the music, not lifting the Stones, it's putting the gathering on to promote and grow my dad's story and to allow lifters a chance to lift, to get involved in the city, because most of the people who lift at the gathering are first timers. It's very, very rare that somebody gets to come back to the gathering. It's not that I don't want them there, but I want people to experience what I've experienced.
Right.
You know, the happiness of being able to lift the Dinnies for the first time and to do that in front of the crowd of the gathering.
Right.
The more I can give that, the better.
Yeah.
You know, because people coming back have already experienced that, so I want somebody else now. Because we've got all of these sessions throughout the year where people can come back again, it's no problem at all.
Of course.
I think the gathering, for competing in the Dinnies, or for competing in the Donald Dinny Games, you must have lifted the Dinny Stones in the past to pre-qualify.
Okay.
You know, so then they get to come along and they get to compete in the games.
Right.
And if you win, you get back next year, but everybody else the following year is a new lifter, so they get a new experience for them. And some have gone on to be Scotland's strongest man. Some have gone on to participate in Giants Live. So I think it's a great stepping stone for people coming, you know.
It is. I think Strongman and the Highland Games as well, it's also connected to, if you can imagine, it all starts from grip, doesn't it? Can you imagine? Have you thought?
You can't lift it.
No, absolutely. It's not really a deadlift, is it?
No.
It's I guess you're holding on to and you're trying to dig your feet through the ground in a sense, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, talk about push-pull. I think that the lifting the Dennies is a push.
Right.
You know, because you're trying to push your feet through the ground.
I remember you said that.
For me, a deadlift is a push as well.
You said that in the YouTube video. I remember how you described it.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you had such a great way of describing and explaining the video, and although, as you can imagine, my accent is way different than yours, I was able to understand, you know, to me, I'm not trying to be offensive, but to me, your accent is a little bit heavy, if you can understand how. Right. Like, nobody around here says...
I don't think I have an accent.
I understood, but, you know, nobody ever calls it the wee ring. You call it the wee ring. I say the little ring, you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. And even though our accents are so different, and it's not my first language, obviously I'm Greek. I'm not, you know, I wasn't born listening to English all the time. So, but still, what I'm trying to say is that it was so explanatory and so easy to understand. It was, I mean, that video should have had fucking millions of views, but, you know.
Oh, it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
the beauty about that video is it's there for anybody that needs it
Yeah,
or wants it.
and I'm guessing it's
You
helped
know.
a lot of people.
I've had some nice feedback on it. I haven't had any negative comments on it at all, but
How could
positive feedback.
How could they have negative comments? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess there's always the occasional idiots, but if you got a troll commenting badly on a Dinny Stone video, that would have been. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that would have been very highly exotic. I guess that's the only way I can
That
do
would
it.
have been amusing.
I'm trying not to curse as much. I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
That's all good.
Let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
I've always known that you're Greek, but the Greek thing for me, I mean, Heather and I, when we holiday, we always get back to Greece as much as we possibly can.
Really?
Because I love the Greek people, I love the Greek culture, Sparta and all of that thing.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about the strength and the impact that the Greeks had on history,
Absolutely.
you know, it's such an inspiring race of people.
Yeah.
You know,
They love lifting stones.
Yeah.
They love the stone lifting too.
Exactly. So it's not unique to Scotland. It's not unique to Ireland. It's not unique to the Celtic culture.
No.
The Vikings.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, you think of Iceland and the Husabell, the Greeks. You know, everybody has had their history with stones, and that's talking about connection. We're all connected.
Absolutely.
Through strength and through strength of character, through strength of our nations, through strife and struggles that we had to go through.
Absolutely.
That make us, you know, into the people that we are, you know, and not seeing a big heavy stone and think, oh no, I couldn't do that. It's like, how do I do that? What do I need to do? I want to do that.
I definitely want to try at some point to be frank. I don't think I can budge them right now. To be honest with you, I don't think so. But I would like to eventually get to the point where I have a chance.
Yes, and you will. You will. If you forget for now the end goal,
right,
and we start building in mini goals, you know, 200 kilos, 250. You know, we can start doing all of that.
Right.
You know, but before anybody gets anywhere near lifting the stones on the rings,
right,
we took technique. Let's get technique sorted.
Right.
You know, and that allows you then to progress safely.
I think I may be lying, but sometime in 23 or 24, I was at another friend's gym, and then Manos from Armlifting Greece had bought the Cerberus set with the pins and the rings. I think, but this is after I did I may be remembering wrong. No, I did a reverse band squat, you know, like a future method where the bands are pulling from the top so they lightens a weight.
Yes.
And I did, I think I did like 302.5 kg on that one. As in, what I'm trying to say is that I was already a bit spent. And then I was like, hey, and then man was like, hey, let's do some dini. I was like, oh, I'm screwed, you know, like I didn't have much left. Yeah. But I do remember, I may be wrong, I don't like to exaggerate with numbers, but I may have gotten at least 500 pounds off the floor, like my first go ever, and that's my only official go. But the guys were like, hey, put your hand behind you. You know, I'm not a huge guy, but I'm definitely not a slender. I'm not the slender type. I'm not. Right now, I've lost a lot of weight since last year, and right now I'm 285. So So one of my guys was like, hey, put your hand in your back. I was like, oh yeah. I was feeling like I was getting arrested or something. I was like, dude, this is so uncomfortable, you know.
That's why technique at the early stage of nailing your technique is so important. Because I mean, there's a sport called badminton.
Yeah.
I played when I was young, and I represented my country a couple of times on it. And when I was coaching badminton, people holding a badminton racket want to hold it like a frying pan because it's comfortable.
Right.
You know, because just because something is comfortable doesn't make it right, and conversely, and more importantly, because it's uncomfortable doesn't make it wrong. It's only uncomfortable because you haven't done it enough times. I
agree, 100%.
Yeah. So we embed, I try and embed good technique and make uncomfortable things comfortable, like the thumb grip, like your setup position. You know, repeat.
It was so, I was like, dude, this is terrible. You have to do it to understand how difficult it is, at first at least. It's like, I'm like,
yes, exactly.
Who picked up, you know, because of the, I tried to do, like I said earlier, I try to conjugate stuff. Like I want to do stupid things. Like for instance, next week, and I know I'm talking about these things because I know how much you'll enjoy it as well. I was trying to tell my girlfriend last night. I said, hey, I want to take my old school loading pin I want to put, because the 20 kilo or the 45-pound plates in my gym have the handles, like we say here, they have the ears where you can hold them. And I said, and I said, I'm thinking about adding 45, then 2.5 kilo plates in between the other 45 kilo plates.
Okay.
And I was thinking about squatting all the way down and doing like a bit of a stone pickup and then an overhead press, something like that. Something completely, in a sense, it's gonna be from the floor up to here and then, go up and.
So you can actually get your fingers in.
Right. So and without having them crossed, I'm gonna have 2 smaller plates in between. I actually have them here, but I have my box of nails on top of them. So there you go. Like I said, I don't own a garage, but my bedroom is chaos. I mean, I cannot imagine how much she loves me to put up with this. I mean, this is.
Oh, she must. Yeah, my Heather's the same.
I'm getting dressed in one corner of the room and the other corner.
I remember those things.
I got this nonsense laying around. So.
Like my dad's own one out in the garage.
Okay.
Well, I remember David Warren doing the flat plate deadlift thing, which is great.
Yeah, he's so strong. David is just.
And then he does the bear hug with those.
Oh, he's an animal. I mean, he's not.
David Warren is for grip, and David's been around for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
They're about a similar age.
Is he?
But he's been involved in strength for such a long time, and I think he did it back in the 90s. So he did, so I mean, he's been around a long time and has made a real good. I've interviewed him once.
Yeah.
I've known about him, we've exchanged messages, but I've invited him on my podcast once.
I saw it the other day, for real.
Talked about it, and it was just wonderful finally getting to talk to him, because you can feel people's passion when you talk to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He seems like a very good dude. Let's see. Okay, I have a final one, which is a bit of I geeked out through all of them, I think, but the last one says, it seems like straddle lifts are not only about positional, but grip strength as well. How have you trained your grip through the years?
Okay. Well, I would argue that all lifts involve the grip. If you think about deadlifts, you think about Kennedy lifts, hack lifts, one-arm deadlifts, ring pulls, anything at all where you're actually lifting the weight off the ground. Anything that's on your shoulders, obviously your grip's not coming into it, but anything that's a static lift off the ground. I mean, I know strongman use straps, and they do that for a reason, so they can get the big numbers.
Yeah.
500 kilos is a massive number.
Oh, yeah,
and it's very few people ever throughout time would be able to hold that kind of weight.
Yeah.
So that's the limiting factor.
Right.
But I think for me, when it comes to the likes of, particularly the Denny Stones, because the Denny Stones, it's a natural challenge. And the natural part of that is the grip. It's a massive part of it. It's not, because 332 kilos, when you think in strongman terms, it's not a huge amount of weight.
No.
So, but when you bring in the imbalance of the weight, when you bring in the different heights, and you bring in the different thicknesses and the shape of the rings, that small one that you say pinches your fingers.
Oh yeah.
All of those accumulate into making this the challenge that it is.
Yeah.
So therefore, to maintain the grip aspect of that is so important. And that's why when I say we don't permit, that this is all, I don't own the Denny Stones. I mean, I do help manage the whole thing, of course, which I'm very happy to do. But they are owned by Beluga Estate. And Beluga Estate are very passionate about the stones themselves, and they want to maintain the original challenge of that. So that's why to get into the history books and all of that, it's in that you must use natural grip. There's no straps permitted.
Right.
We do permit the ladies at the moment, but that's because between 1979, when John Todd lifted them, and 2017, when Lee Holland King lifted them, that's a hell of a gap.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So we wanted to get the straps in to promote inclusion, to get the ladies involved.
Agreed.
To make it something that's achievable. Because we now have, I can't remember the exact, 3 or 4 ladies who lifted them with bare hands. I mean, Annika Carew lifted them and held them with their bare hands for almost 10 seconds.
That's insane.
Hannah Lindsay's done it, Chloe Brennan's now done it. There's ladies have lifted them now, with their bare hands. And I mean, were sitting listening for me because I'm just forgetting people when you're doing this, you know.
Yeah.
But the grip part of it is really, it's so important. So therefore, in straddle, in side by side, you know, the grip is important. And I mean, my dad was always blessed with a strong grip. He just had that.
Yeah.
I don't think my grip's particularly strong, but I can hold a lot of weight on because I've got good technique.
Right.
Anything I can stick a thumb in, I'm doing it. If I'm driving my car, I'm driving my car like this.
You're kidding.
When I'm sitting watching a movie, I'm sitting like this. So I'm doing this when I'm sitting watching a movie.
I should be taking notes, you know, like I see.
But so, I mean, to say how do you get better at bench more? How do you get better at grip sports, grip more? You know, use your grip. And one of the things that I do say in relation to using the hook grip, people talk about the pain of it. So whether you're doing it on a deadlift, whether you're doing it on a straddle lift, or a Kennedy, or the rings, use it from your lightest warm-up sets right through to the end.
I see.
Because, for example, let's talk about the rings. You know, I mean, I start off with about 100 kilos, so it's 50, 50 and 40, and the rings are about 10-ish, you know, so it's about 100. I still use this. And the reason that is, even with that, with that small weight on your hands, there's still pressure there.
Oh, yeah.
It's still 50 kilos in the front, you know, it's you know. So your body immediately, oh, right, there's pressure here, he's doing that thumb grip thing again. So your body sends its natural anesthetic to that area where the pressure is. So then you go to 180 kilos, oh, it's a bit heavier, a bit more anesthetic. I don't need it, I can hold it like this. But one of the things that I did do years ago was I thought, I'll just work up like this. And I got up to 230 and I went for 270 and I thought, right, time to stick my thumb in now. So I stuck my thumb in, and that was the first time in the session that I'd used it. And literally I thought somebody had hit me with a hammer.
Really?
On my thumb.
Because
I had conditioned my thumb through the warm-up.
Right. I see.
So I had the 50 kilos, you know, the 100, the 180, the 230. They all contribute to setting the anesthetic there. So your thumb, when it's not numb, it's conditioned. There's a bit of anesthetic in there, so it's nowhere near as uncomfortable as it would be. I don't think the discomfort ever truly goes away, but I never thought about that. You know, so to train anything, use it as often as possible. You know, and use, I mean, particularly when you're starting to bring in hook grip, use it from the lightest ones up. What I would have done at the end of a session would be to get a couple of 45-pound, 20-kilogram plates. I have the old York barbell ones that have a wee bit of a lip on them.
Okay.
And I would pinch those and I would stand and hold them for a couple of minutes.
Right.
You know, one in each hand. And then eventually, I think I worked up to about 3 minutes. So I was able to hold them before I went forehand. They exploded. But all of those things, you know, are building tendon strength. That supports muscular strength. You know, so anything that's going to stress your grip, you know, and when I'm doing the grippers, I don't rep like this. I grip, hold as long as I possibly can. Because when you think about the three types of grip strength, there's tension strength, which is functional strength. Squeezing strength, not really functional.
No.
What things do you do in your daily life that involves you squeezing as hard as you can?
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
But, so then you've got your holding strength. So how many things in your life do you need to be able to hold on to? Lots, I would say. There you go.
Double roller.
All of that, you know, but for me, it's when I was doing grippers, I would have held a gripper. Say if it happens across, even a 0.5, you know, the lightest one possible, but hold it for as long as you possibly can, you know, until your forearms are screaming at you, you know. I think those things at the end of a session when you've done everything else you wanted to do, just to completely bust yourself.
Absolutely. But
it worked for me.
I understand that because only makes sense much for me. For instance, I'm just adding to what you said that. For instance, the front rack position for a front squat, it took me several months to be able to do that. And I can do that cold. Before that, every time I attempted it, it was so painful. And it was just a matter of stretching because I guess, I don't know if people understand, but there's a lot of muscle in your forearm compared to your hand. And here, essentially, aside from the thumb muscle, it's only tendons and connective tissue. So you have to warm it up. So I'm taking your advice 100%, And like you said, from the lighter sets, I'm gonna be warming up my hook grip. I'll take that. I'll take it. I'm stealing that.
That will help with the discomfort. It will condition your thumbs.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
over time, I mean, your thumbs do retain that. You know, so you're going to each session to get better and better and better. You know, and to the point where you don't even think about it.
I can imagine with the thinner ring, it has to be very, very painful if you get to wedge it properly. It has to be very painful with that amount of weight you guys are lifting. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I remember Eddie Hall coming over when he did The Strongest Man on Earth.
Yeah.
And there was Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, Robert Burst, and Nick Best.
Yeah.
And they had invited me out to talk to the guys. You know, when Brett and all was there, we were there to talk to them about the history, about technique, about all the different things, aspects of the ditties, so that they were educated going into making this program. And I remember Brian, my flight was delayed. Yeah. So I was in the airport, it was in Belfast, and there was lovely little tea towels with all like the shipyard and different aspects of Belfast to be famous. So I bought them a tea towel each.
Okay.
And I handed them when I met and said that this is a wee gift from Belfast.
Okay.
I said, that's to wipe the blood off your hands when you finish with the ditty show.
Okay.
And they all laughed at me.
Okay.
And every one of them had to use the tea towel to wipe the blood off their hands. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is important. It is important to get that right.
Okay.
You know?
Let's see. No. Well, I think I crossed them all out, so.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
It's well, like I said, a couple of them we walked into them. I guess you can say that metaphorically.
Yeah, there's a crossover.
Right, for real. Like as we were talking, I was like, oh yeah, shit, the hook grip. And the time I was like, oh, I actually asked that, so I crossed them out a couple. So we kind of skipped ahead.
Yeah, we did. And we've only been doing this for 15 minutes, my goodness. We've covered it already.
We've been talking for, I don't know how long we've been talking. I gotta check the phone that's recording, but
it's about an hour and a half.
At least an hour and a half. Yeah, at least an hour and a half. See, time just disappears.
I know.
It's funny.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Terry. Really have enjoyed your company.
This is not the end, 100%. And as I'm going into the training, or more dedicated training, I would like to do this again. And I happen to have a day off, and I'm actually going to, as soon as we hang up, we're gonna go check at not a new car, but another car, because my car is just breaking down a lot lately. And it's just, I don't want to change the subject. It's completely out of the subject, I know, but as soon as we hang up, we're just gonna go. But we're still good. I'm not gonna rush the epilogue to this conversation.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I bought myself a new car.
Did you?
And it is currently a driveway ornament because the steering went on it within about 4 weeks of buying it. So it's parked in the driveway, and I can't drive it. I love it. It's a beautiful car. Really excited to drive it. And
you can look at it.
It's an ornament. I can look at it and sit it behind the stereo, which is really cool.
I had we have an old Mercedes, but it came in my hands in I guess in a sad way, because I almost died in a car accident about a year and a half ago, December of 24. Yeah, I was bad, and my eyes closed, and I just, on the way back, I was awake for like 20 hours. I actually went and did a drum session. I recorded drums for some friends. And we were in there for a long time, like 8 hours, 10 hours, setting up, and then sitting, and it's all death metal, so there's a lot of blast beats and a lot of double bass.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
But I was warmed up. I've been doing this for a long time. I was like, hey, let's go again. And the dude is like, it's 2:30 in the morning. Wouldn't you like to go sleep eventually? Because I had a morning shift at my job. I woke up at like 5 a.m. And the dude is like, dude. So I guess I was up for almost a whole day. And on my way back, I made it I was literally 2 miles away from home, and this is when I crashed the car. I generally almost, I didn't lose my leg, but some artery broke, and they were concerned about clogging, and I did 45 anti-clog injections in my belly and stuff like that. Anyway, I didn't want to turn into a huge drama, but I had a Hyundai Elantra, nothing incredible, but it was a very functional car and easy to fix. So now with a Mercedes, a neighbor of mine saw the car, and he saw me limping. He's like, dude, what happened? And I said, I trashed the car, and said, I cannot get to work. They gave me a few days off. Of course, my leg was almost exploding. And the dude is like, hey, do you want my old Mercedes? He said, I was going to take it to a car lot and get a little bit of money for it. And I got it for a very, very small amount of money, and I'm grateful. But because of my new job recently, I'm spending well over 200 euro per month on gas. And so that's how we came to the conversation of we're going to go check another car. I will hate to lose. I might just like retire it, take away the license plates, and maybe keep it. I don't know what I'm gonna decide to do. But every time that fucking car breaks down, it's like 300 to 500 euro, and we don't make 5,000 euro a month, sadly. So you know.
I had a Chrysler Grand Voyager before the car I got now, which was great because we used it with a van. We toured all over with this, so it was just the five of us jumped into it.
Right.
The crew all arrived with the big lorry with all the gear, and it was wonderful. But when we stopped touring, I mean, this thing does literally 2 lampposts to a gallon, you know. It's a real guzzler. So I had to get something, and I got something for myself. I got a Range Rover Evoque. It's beautiful.
Right.
But I need to get that fixed now.
Maybe you can start your solo career.
I'm going to make one more analogy for you, and you'll understand this as a drummer.
Yeah.
So, first time that you ever did a triplet on the drums.
Yeah.
It's your 2 hands in your foot.
Right.
1, 2, 3. How awkward was that? How uncomfortable did that feel? How hard was it to connect those together into a flow of triplets?
Right. It was incredibly annoying at first.
Exactly. So it felt uncomfortable. Yeah. It felt wrong. You felt, how can this ever? But you did it again and again. Yeah. And eventually now you can do triplets and you can make lovely flowing triplets. I say exactly the same thing with thumb grip, with setup with the Denny's. It's incredibly awkward. It feels unnatural. Yeah. After a while, if you do it enough, you'll just stand over these things and it'll be as natural as bending down to pick up a barbell and deadlift. It will become through repetition, just like your triplets. Think triplets.
Right.
Like, think paradiddles. Think all the double strokes, horrible things that you have to do.
I will.
Yeah.
I will definitely use the things you told me today. I will be incredibly happy to watch it again. I don't know when I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna upload it on my channel. I don't know when it's going on. It's going up. Is it Monday? I'm guessing Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
Because I'm uploading a ton of clips on YouTube. I'm trying to become popular and make millions. I'm not going to.
Absolutely, yes. Well, if you can't do it through this, just become a rock star millionaire. I highly recommend rock star millionaire.
Singing about the devil and human destruction makes no money whatsoever. I promise you that.
Oh my goodness, there's a bit of a niche market, yeah.
All these pentagrams for nothing, you know. It just doesn't. But so. We'll see how it goes. I'm very, very happy we got to do this. You are exactly as I imagined. You are a gentleman, a gentle heart, and I love how you spoke about your dad. Very inspiring. I just love it.
That's from the heart.
Incredibly positive.
Wonderful meeting you, Terry. Really enjoyed your company.
Absolutely. Is there anything you would like to add? Maybe your social media, anything at all you would like to add to finish this?
I mean, if anybody's interested in the Denny Stones or training about it, I'm so easy to find. I know that Instagram's really bad for because I can never tell people's real name. I can tell their handle. Yeah. It's very rare. But I had to guess with Terry for yourself, obviously.
Right, it starts with Terry.
I'm just Stevie Shanks, it's Stevie Shanks on Facebook, it's Stevie Shanks on Instagram, so easy enough to find.
Okay.
And there's normally a picture of me lifting cars or Denny Stones somewhere, so it's easy to connect me to those things.
The guy with the crazy guy with the long hair. A witch in the Middle Ages would have burned you.
I would have burned me as a witch.
It's got long hair.
I wouldn't have burned for very long because I'm small.
That was really good.
Yeah, so hopefully some year when we're out in Greece, on holiday, we'll maybe get a chance to hook up.
I'm close to Athens, and if you guys ever get a chance to come here, we will definitely come meet you. I would love to sit down. And
keep that in mind 100%, yeah.
Absolutely.
So we'll be come and do a session.
And it has been a bucket list for sure. Since it's been about 5 years that I really, really want to do the Denny Stones. But it's not just the Denny Stones. We obviously want to visit Scotland. I mean, it's just gorgeous stuff.
Ireland's nicer. Ireland's much nicer than Scotland.
Is it really? We'll just edit that one. We'll just edit that one out and.
Oh man,
Yeah, I made
you know
out
what?
of it.
I've lived my whole life in Ireland and in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
But even when I was a boy, you know, with the Scouts or whatever reason, going over to Scotland, I always had a feeling of coming home. You know, I'd always, particularly up in Aberdeenshire, you know, when you go into Aberdeenshire and into Deeside, it's an amazing place. You know, so very interested. We're talking about that DNA thing. Let's see how that turns out. You know, because there's got to be some Scottish stuff there.
You guys are not far at all, right? It's a very small distance.
No, we're not. No, I mean, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. You know, they're all connected. You know, through the Celtic sort of history and traditions. You know.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out.
Excellent. I will keep you updated. This week is a Monday. Well, sometime this week I will be doing again some one-handed demi deadlifts. I don't know what else. Something completely stupid, but very functional regarding the
functional stuff.
Yeah, functional stuff.
And get on that V bar again because I can show you some stuff in the V bar. I'll get your numbers up.
I was my friend from Armlifting Greece contacted. He's like, dude, that's not bad weight. Because that's the first time I'm doing it. Obviously, I'm not a stranger to grip or lifting. I've been doing it for a long time. But the damn, I don't have it here somewhere in my car, but the damn thing was so slippery. It was like, just, you know, it's a V-bar, so you hold it like this. You want to hold it like here. I don't think people can see it. And as soon as I'm straightening my body, obviously it slips. And then I'm holding it this way instead of this way. And it pissed, and I told her, she's always feeling I was like, dude, there's no way I can pick this up. And I tried 95 kg and I was like, I was trashed. But of course I was training for about an hour and a half before that, so my hands were not fresh.
I think it's again with the V-bar is do it. You know, you use your technique from the lightest ones right up the way through. I can't do that, obviously, you just can't. You can't get your hand in that position.
No.
But I can get this.
What? Okay, I can actually do that.
So.
Wait, how do you... Oh, I see. Is this what...
So you're coming down on it?
Yeah. Oh, what? I mean, why am I so incompetent?
Okay, so one of the things that people do, and I see it on the V-bar, I want to talk about the V-bar, is they come at it from the top. Okay? So if you come at it from the side, think about reaching down to pick up a barbell, and you're going to apply a boot grip. So you need to bend your torso to 45 degrees or to 90 degrees.
Right.
And come straight at the bar.
Right. So you mean you kind of start like this and then you...
And then,
Oh, I see.
Try that. Make a massive difference. Because you're actually aligning yourself with the bar straight up. So if the bar was this way, you would come down on it. Yeah. So now the bar's this way, we want to come at it from the side.
Right.
So we need to bend myself down and push my hand behind me. This is stuff that I just had to work out for myself, you know, but it makes perfect sense to me. Right. You know, you talk about adapting, you know, so my V-bar 1 inch was awful because I was just coming out from the top.
Like me.
You know, I think it was like 85, 90 kilos and I was done.
Right.
You know, and I thought I should be able to do more than that. So then when I started to think about it and think about the different grip techniques that I use and other things, and then I thought about angle of attack. I have to come at this at 90 degrees to the bar, so I could bend myself over.
Right.
I'll send you a video, I'll show you what I'm doing.
The other thing I noticed is because I was holding it like a moron, which is this way, is I could feel my fingers rolling up because it's slipping, and it was quite painful. And I've taken a lot of pain, a lot of injuries, and this was very distinctive. Can you believe it or
Next
not?
level shit,
my middle finger. I'm not trying to crank a joke, but it's still swollen from like 3 days ago. It's crazy.
Okay. Well,
the wrong technique, I guess. So I have to fix that.
Yeah. No, we'll get you sorted out. No, because I did watch your thing yesterday, and I thought, right, we need to talk about this and this and this.
Right. Okay. I will be texting you along the way.
Yeah. We'll come to that, of course. Yeah.
Get used to being tagged. You're gonna be tagged a lot. I'm just letting you know.
That's okay.
On Instagram. That's okay. Blocked, you know.
It was an absolute pleasure to finally meet you in person, and
good
to actually talk.
Oh, thank you, thank you. It was just, yeah. I hope you enjoyed it, and the questions were
I did.
good enough, I guess.
Any day where I get to talk about my dad's a good day.
And this stuff.
And this stuff, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Stevie, it's been an absolute pleasure. Honestly, I'm very, very happy we got to do this. Finally, I'm gonna send you the link to the video. If you could please maybe share it in a story or something, that would be nice.
Of course, yes, of course.
Maybe get some views over there, and hopefully in the, I'm guessing Thursday is gonna go up.
Okay.
Thursday morning, we're gonna send the link. I'm gonna let you know. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, in the words of Terry Todd, don't weaken.
I love Terry Todd, by the way. He's an absolute legend. Legend.
Amazing man. Amazing man.
Thank you so much for doing this.
It's been my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. We'll do it again soon.
I don't even know how to hang up. It's
I'll do that. You take it easy.
All right.
I'll handle this bit, alright?
You too. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye, Terry.
Hell yeah, Stevie fucking Shanks.